Hi everyone, welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and build update 6 of the 68 Dodge Dart HEMI 2-in-1 kit. So let's move the guys out the way here and I'll show you what I did. You can see that I did a real light weathering underneath. That flat black was just boom, and I didn't like it. It's a driver's car. Although it's going to run like crazy, it is a driver's car. He's still got to get it to the shows and things like that, and the underside's going to get a little bit dirty. So I used, believe it or not, the XF60 and just dry brushed it in. And I think it looks way better now. It brought out a lot of the highlights, and it dulled down that flat black. It also dulled down the semi-gloss that I did on the frame. So now it's like a more true semi-gloss and a less flat black. And that's what I was really wanting. I also did separately the... boy, did that stick in there? Nice. This thing's kind of falling together, I'll be honest with you. Let me move this out of the way for a second. But I did the rear end also. I always do the chassis first. Here, let me pull this apart since I got everything here anyhow. I do the chassis first. Okay, I dry brush all of this, and then I'll come back and I dry brush this separate. That way I'm getting all the little nooks and crannies that you might miss underneath this. I was able to get those dry brushed because you don't want to miss those. Same with this. If this is in here and you dry brush, you're going to miss all this down below here. So you don't want to do that. You just dry brush them in 3 sections. It only takes an extra minute. I do this. Don't even stop. Pull this one over, do it, and then I do this one. So there's that. And while we have this here, let's talk about the brake lines and the fuel line. I brought the brake line down and around this way, and I came up, the last place I glued it is right here. So this piece is free and clear to move around. So when we drop the rear end on, I can bring that up. I also ran the brake lines across the rear end here. And I'll be able to run those out to the brake drums. So when I put this down, I'll take this and I'll snip it to fit so it just comes up and touches here somewhere. I'll hit that with a little bit of Mod Podge, just a drop, let it dry, and then I'll come in with either the titanium silver or regular gold leaf with that to make it look like a copper fitting. I do have copper, but I think the copper is too copper. I'm sorry, it wouldn't be a copper fitting, it'd be a brass fitting. And I think the gold leaf or the titanium silver looks like brass more than anything else I have. So that'll go there with the line coming up. The fuel line, I brought up and in and just stopped right here. And then I came across and I stopped. Then I came all the way down and I brought it all the way down to the fuel tank in the middle. And the best picture I could find, it looked like it was going in there, and that's why I put it that way. And this one is one long piece. So what I did is I kind of held it in place and I bent a swoop in it here and then a 90 over and down. And as I was doing that, I glued the front, then I glued here and then here, and I just kind of worked my way and worked that hose around a little bit at a time as the glue dried, and it dries real fast with this solder. I don't know what it is with the solder and the CA glue. I use this Instacure, but man, does it just dry quick. So I was able to just work it out. You know, I'd put this down and wait a second, and I'd put this down and wait a second, and I just worked my way around. And it took all of about 15 minutes from start to finish doing the fuel line, and then maybe 15 minutes start to finish to do the brake line. As you see on the brake line, I was a little more tight with my my joints or the edges and 90s. I wanted the fuel line to have a little bit more flow to it, just so I'm not restricting the gas getting to that engine. I ran a fuel line out proud here. I haven't run the brake lines out yet. This is where I stopped because I got carried away with this. But there's the chassis and the suspension. I'm pretty happy with that. Our exhaust is all weathered up now. And the only thing I used on this exhaust is the Weathermaster C, because I'm trying to make it to where everybody can do this on the cheap. So you don't need to get different color paints. And then, you know, there's ways to make rust, just taking steel wool and throwing it in water and letting it dry out and taking that rust and you paint it on. And it looks great. And trust me, when I do a rusted out beater, I'm going to do that. But for something like this that's going to be underneath and really not seen that much, I wanted to go the cheap and show everybody how you can go the cheap. So I did the Tamiya Weathermaster C, and the only one I used was the orange rust. And like I said, I just dabbed it all over and I wiped it around and everything. And then I came back with my Tamiya panel liner, the black, and just touched it here and there. And what that does is that kind of pulls and pushes around and follows the powder that's in this Weathermaster C, and gives me these darker and lighter looks of rust on here. So you get a little deeper and a little bit lighter look to it. I did this on the Duster too, but I did it a lot harder on the Duster. I even drilled a hole in the Duster and chiseled out for a hole in the muffler. But this is, I just wanted it to be used. And I think I did a pretty good job of getting it just used. I also took the exhaust tips, and like I said, I drilled them out, and then I painted them inside. And then I took some of my pastel, just the black, and I went around the outside edges. And I doubt highly that the camera will pick it up. I hope it does. But I just went around maybe a 64th of an inch back all the way around and sooted up the tips. And then kind of sooted them heavy in here. And I can see them with my eyes. Not sure if the camera is going to pick that up. But it's just one more layer of cheap detail that you can do. And trust me, I try to stay on the cheap. I don't want to put a ton of money in my kits. That's why I don't do the photo etches and things like that. I kind of take pieces of evergreen or what I can find and make the stuff. But anyhow, let's keep moving because this is a blast. Let's go with the firewall next. I was having fun with the firewall. I wired the windshield wiper mechanism. There's 3 wires that come out. So I drilled 3 tiny holes and just used my 32 AWG wire to put into those holes, and then I twisted it up and I just ran it over to here. The body will be coming down this way, so the inner fender wall will come this way. And what I'll do is I'll just take 3 wires and twist them and bring them up to where these 2 come together. I wasn't about to have 5 feet of wire coming down, you know, enough to go all the way down the firewall or the fender, because it would have just got bent and messed up, just like I'm worried about these, because they're way too long anyhow. But I did the windshield washer pump or windshield wiper motor, and then I'm not even sure what this is, but I drilled 3 holes in here, and I ran 3 wires up and out and around and just brought them around with here. I saw a bunch of pictures of it that looked that way, and I just followed those pictures. And what I did is I drilled the 3 holes, then I painted the what looks like cooling fins, aluminum, and I ran those wires in. And when I did, because it would be almost impossible, they were already twisted together with the 3 ends flared out. So what I did is when I cut them, I cut one just a little bit shorter than the next. So as I was putting them in there, I put the longest one in, and then the next longest one, and then the third longest one in, pushed them in through the back, flattened them out so they couldn't go anywhere, and then I super glued them in place. Now they're locked in. So I keep saying I wanted to do more with the firewalls, and I think that's going to look a lot better than just big slab of gold. I looked and looked. I didn't see any wires for the heater, so I left it go. And then with the heater hoses coming off of here, this side will look pretty good. So I think I'm covered with detail on this side. The fender here, it'll have the battery and the windshield washer motor or reservoir right here on it. So there's going to be a lot going on. I'll have the wires run the cables for the battery, and I'll bring all that stuff around, and these wires will go up across the fender, and I'll just tie them into the front, make it look like it goes through the radiator and the cross brace for that. I also drilled out, what I did is I hit these with a file, and flattened them out. I drilled the 2 little holes for the master cylinder, and then I just took my 0.3 millimeter solder. I wrapped it around the tip of a toothpick and brought it down, took it up here, and just put a little 90-degree bend in it and glued it right into the side of the master cylinder where it belongs. As I was doing that, I knocked my little wire off the top, so I'm gonna have to redo that, but that's no big deal. I can do that anytime. I'll probably wait now until I get it in the car to do that. But there's a little bit of wiring on the Easy. This wire right here took me all of about maybe 15 minutes to do. The windshield washer or windshield wiper motor took me probably about the same, but I did that a while ago. And then when I glued it in, I figured out where I could cut it to make it look good. So I'm good with the firewall. I'm happy here. These 2 pin marks are going to disappear because the inner fender comes into here on both of these. So those will disappear. They're not even going to be seen. I'll have the hole here for the steering. That'll tie in. It'll come in around. I'll have to just push these out of the way when I put it in. Not a big deal. That was fun. What's next here? Firewall. The grill. I think my grill is killer now. I used just Tamiya panel liner on that, and I'm hoping that the camera doesn't just bleach it out, because it has a tendency to do that with chrome. But it darkened up nice. The 2 center and the cross up and down are very dark, and then the inner grill is just dulled out enough to where it looks like it's open. I am going to drill out the 2 holes here with a small bit, and then these 2 holes I'll drill out with a little bit bigger bit, and I'm going to use my new LEDs all the way across the board on this. And I like the wires on those. They're a little more pricey than the other ones I got, but the way those wires are and how flexible they are, I think I can do a lot more with them. I'll be able to run this right down the side of the chassis, and in between the door panel and the door, so that it'll just run right through and no problems. I can tape it right onto the side of the body, and then it'll be out of the way and it'll get to the trunk. They're long enough to get to the trunk too, where the other ones I was always about that much too short. So that's my plan for this. And next up we have the rims. They came out awesome. They really did. That is just Tamiya panel liner. That's all I used on there. It dulled them out really well. I still have the good chrome rings, and the lines going out that way is chrome. But the rest of it, it dulled it down to where it looks like that gray. Jeez, I wish I could get that. There we go. And then the center, I did panel liner, let it sit overnight, and then I did panel liner again to get that dark, almost black look. So, and then an added bonus, I'm looking like, what is this part? And here, that's a tack. So I detailed that too, and we're going to put that on the steering column when I put it in. I'm going to paint the back part of it black, and I'll drill a hole and run a wire out of it, and just run the wire down the steering column so it looks like it goes somewhere. But there's the rims, and I'm getting really close to being able to start putting parts together. My door panels, I showed you that I did the gold, and then I came back and I did the chrome across the top, those the two chrome lines, and I did the chrome on the mirror adjuster on this one, and this one just has the two lines. There's no mirror adjuster on the other one. So somebody's gonna have to reach out to window and fix it. And we all know how that was. The other thing I did is on these, geez, I wish I had a better video camera, but these little emblems I hit with panel liner and dulled them out to where they looked a little bit more aluminum, but the GTS really stands out now. Let me see here. This one's flat. I can get my hand under it. The GTS really stands out now, so that'll be able to be seen even while it's inside the car. And since I got these little LEDs with the nice flexible wires, I have an idea for a dome light. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little tiny LED, and I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to glue it in with Mod Podge right in here. I'm going to run the wire straight across and then down. There's 7 inches of wire, so I should be able to run it straight across here and then down the on the outside of the window and into the trunk that way. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my painter's tape and I'm going to cut strips in the painter's tape to match these lines in here, and I'm going to actually put a painter's tape roof liner in this, and that'll hide those wires. It'll give me texture up there. I'll just paint it with my my real black, accent black, and I don't think anybody will ever see the wires. They will see the LED, but if I remember right, the clear, this does have an actual dome light that goes in there, so I'll put the LED in, I'll paint around it silver, I'll glue that dome light down on top of it, on top of this. This should give me enough gap to where the dome light will fit flush. That LED will light that up, and I'll be able to light up the interior where you'll be able to see it whenever the lights are turned on. So I'm going to give that a try. We'll see if it works. It's a big guess. I'm going to use this tomorrow to spray my quick shine on the body and the door panels. I had to wait a couple of days before I could do it because of the Molotov pen. I was afraid that it wasn't going to be hard enough. So when I put the quick shine, I was afraid it'd do something weird. So I let it sit. I like to let it sit 3 and 4 days before I quick shine. So I can't wait to try this out. It says it's a 2-stage or a dual action, and I didn't understand how that worked. And one of the guys on the Grandpa Mark's Hobbies group page on Facebook said that when you first pull the trigger back, it starts the air. And then as you pull the trigger back farther, it starts to paint. So I can't wait to try this. This is going to be a blast. And the other thing is Gallery sent me an email today saying that the code, and I'll put the code right here, for the discount is going to be extended until the end of the month. So if you're going to buy one of these airbrushes or whatever, use that code. You know, go to their Amazon page. You can look up, what I did is I looked up the airbrush, and then at the top where it says, you know, the store, you can go to the gallery store and then hit buy from there, and you can use that code. And I'm not even sure what the discount is. They honestly never told me, and I never even asked. But a discount's a discount, so if you want to grab it, it might be a good idea to do it that way. Save a little money. And now we did everything else except for my back bumper. I've been messing around with this now for 2 days. I used my accent black again for all the black inside except for where it says Dodge. That I just used panel liner and dropped it in there, and holy crap did it show Dodge on there. Let me bring that up and focus. It really did a good job. I'm super happy with that. Just about 15 minutes ago, I put the 4 red lenses in here, and then before I did that, I drilled holes in the centers of each one of those lenses. And I've been waiting for the quick shine, because I put quick shine on the bottom, glued it in with the quick shine, and then I put quick shine over the top to clear those lenses out. And look at how nice they did. They came to life as soon as I hit them with the quick shine. So I say quick shine so many times, I think those guys should buy me a car. But I have an LED fired up here, and you and I are going to both be the first to see it at the same time. Look at that. That is cool. That lights up the whole, you can see the whole, let me pull it up here. This thing is so delicate. I'm afraid I'm gonna tear it apart. But that is cool. That is very cool. I'm just going to glue that right over top of the hole. So I'm going to use 4 LEDs on this tail lights. Glue it right to the top of the hole on all 4 of them. And I think that's going to be a win. It's way better than what I've ever done before, that's for sure. I hope you can see that. I'm trying to tilt it back so I can see it too. But this is the first time I've tested it. And I'm tickled to death with it. That's going to be so cool. So there we go. These little LEDs are rocking. They're expensive. I think 20 of them was $9. So they're going to go quick. But, I mean, for as little as I spend in my kits, I thought the lighting is the most dramatic thing that I can do. So I'm going to really go all out with it. On this kit, don't expect me to do this on every single kit, because it's very time consuming, and with my bad eyes and big hands, I have a heck of a time doing it. But man, I hope I'm not going down a rabbit hole here. But with that, I'm gonna let you go. We're winning the game here. I'll do the quick shine tomorrow night, and then we'll go from there. So let me let you go tonight, and y'all have a great day. Better tomorrow. Thanks for watching.